South Florida's premier law enforcement agency is now hiring individuals like you. The Fort Lauderdale Police Department is now accepting applications for non-certified and certified police officer positions. Minimum requirements and qualifications can be found on flpdjobs.com. That's flpdjobs.com. Are you ready? The city of Fort Lauderdale is an equal opportunity employer.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we bring you in. Smackdown is over, and Rampage was on earlier this evening. So it is Sean Stanley here in Miami Gardens and bringing you the Squared Circle Digest, covering Smackdown and Rampage a little bit. Caught some of that at the end there. Congratulations to the new, I guess, WWE Unified Tag Team Champions, the Usos. They win at the end of SmackDown there with the help of Roman Reigns, and the Tribal Chief has all the gold in the bloodline now as they are the new Unified Tag Team Champions. So I don't know that you could have went wrong either way, however they did it. If I think the storyline plays out better with Randy Orton and Riddle chasing the titles, especially with the way the promo was cut earlier on, where if the Usos lose, then they are, kind of off the island. You know what I'm saying? So kind of, I believe, in a way, set it up. I do like the way they, played it out. They kind of did the cheating, of course, what the bloodline did and the heat that they were getting at the end. Kids crying, of course, you know how you get, the WWE camera is going to be looking for all that. So that will be in the, stockpile of vignettes that you're going to be seeing for Monday and continued on. We'll see what happens, what they play out next on Monday. At first, I thought they were kind of setting up Riddle to take on Roman Reigns, possibly, but then he attacks Randy Orton at the end there too. So I think it's left it open for both, or even for them to go back after the tag team titles. So I think you're going to see Randy Orton and Riddle both kind of feuding with Roman Reigns and the Usos. Ultimately, maybe they get a third person. I'm trying to throw that around in my head as I was watching it today to think who they could bring in to be the third person. The only other person, I guess, would be McIntyre, which you saw at the pay-per-view the last time. So, again, not sure that that's 100% the way it should go. A lot to get to in this evening's show. I want to talk a little bit about Stephanie McMahon has decided to take a leave of absence as well. There was an incident on AEW Rampage. And if you'll give me about 2 minutes, I'll be right back. I take care of something real quick here at the house.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
The Big O Radio Show is looking for partners to join our growing platform. If your business is ready to reach an audience that starts in Florida, crosses the nation while expanding internationally, this is the program that provides that vehicle. The Big O Radio Show is ready to broadcast live anywhere in the world to represent your event or product. To reach out by phone, 786-754-4664. That's 786-754-4664. Or email bigoradioshow@yahoo.com. Help us grow as we provide the content and personal connection corporate entities will never achieve.
Folks, you can support the hardest working sports talk show in South Florida through Cash App or Venmo. Just search Cash Big O Show. Support us through Cash App or Venmo. Cash Big O Show. We thank you for your incredible support.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
All right, we bring you back in. Sorry about that. Had something going on outside. Had to take care of that. My dogs are going crazy, driving me bananas in here. Don't forget to get on the chat. Just jump in here on the YouTube chat, or you can reach out on me on Twitter or Instagram at Sean_Stanley11. And of course, Big O Radio Show at yahoo.com. Just make the subject line wrestling. Overall, Smackdown Rampage, as I was saying, Smackdown, I think, delivered, especially at the end there with the heat that they generated with the Bloodline winning the unified tag team titles. Now, interesting thing they did, for about 45 seconds, they acknowledged the Sasha Banks, Naomi walking out, basically saying there's going to be a tournament for the titles and that they have both been suspended indefinitely. And that was kind of all that they went through on that. And basically that's all they went through there. No new news to report as far as anything from what has been reported on that front. Stephanie McMahon has taken a leave of absence from her WWE duties. This has to do with something family related. She wanted to spend more time with the family. Steve Chapman said, "What's up, Sean? Figured they would win." Yeah, especially with the way that, as I said a minute ago, if you were on a minute ago, the way the promo was cut at the beginning, it kind of set up feeling that they would win. But honestly, I think storyline wise, they could have went either way with it. I think ultimately this opens them up for more Orton, Roman, Riddle, Riddle and Orton against the Usos. I think they need one more person. I don't know that it needs to be Drew McIntyre. We've already seen that, but I don't know who else. As I was saying, I was kind of racking my brain. So if you got any ideas, throw them out there, put them on in the chat, or hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, Sean_Stanley11. Watching a little bit of the truck race here, and then I'm going to switch over to the NBA Western Conference Finals. Oh, no. This man just went around. That's not good. But more on the Stephanie McMahon. Basically, it came as a surprise to a lot of people that I guess within WWE. It wasn't something that was, I guess, thought was going to happen. People said they had heard. Reports on Fightful said that, they had heard things but didn't know because nothing had happened. And then on Tuesday or Wednesday was the they're called the upfronts, I believe. But they believe that's why she kind of held out till 4:30 in the afternoon to announce that, so that didn't affect any of with the upfronts. It's kind of with the sponsors and TV ratings and things like that. I don't know if you saw The Rock posted a video. He was there with the XFL stuff. He got an award and some things there. So it's going to be interesting because, again, Stephanie, Shane's not really involved with WWE anymore. Now Shane is Stephanie is taking some time away. Triple H is back to his duties. Not necessarily his normal duties because of the condition and everything there. So he's, but Stephanie still is the second largest holder of stock in WWE. So she still has over 1.9 million shares. So I think she has roughly 450, or no, was it 150, or no, 400. I think it's 400 million is what I was reading for the stock. So, she can take some time away. So let's see. Oh, my dad was asking, Miss Smackdown tonight, how was it? Overall, it was a good show. Definitely ended with a lot of fire. The Usos defeat Orton and Riddle for the the unified tag team titles with the help of Roman and Paul Heyman. You saw Xavier Woods. You saw what are they calling LA Knight now? Max Dupree, because again, you can't, whatever you do on the roster on NXT, we have to change your name when you come up to the main roster because you're a whole new character. Now he's Max Dupree. So we'll have to see where that leads. I did see that on the dark matches, he's been working with Mansoor and not T-Bar. Who is the other one? T-Bar and can't think of his name now, but that is kind of who he's teamed up with. AKW Beach, yo! And I appreciate everybody tuning in here on this Friday night. Raquel Rodriguez continued her dominance tonight over Shotzi. I did like that. I like the way that they're kind of moving her up and the way that they kind of brought her in with Ronda last week, kind of set the tone for her, and she kept that going this week. But other than that, there really was. They did the Sami Zayn Nakamura. Nakamura gets the victory there. It was a good SmackDown. It's just, again, we're 2 weeks away from a pay-per-view, and honestly, other than what do you got? Bianca Belair and Asuka now as the Raw women's title. I don't know what they're doing with this pay-per-view. They have Seth Rollins and Cody now, Hell in the Cell. That did get announced on Monday. But it's going to be interesting. It's a weird shaping, lining up and getting all the matches together that I've seen on a WWE pay-per-view in a while. Let's see, AKW say the Heat lost, however, the Bloodline got all the gold. I'm happy. I'm marking out at the end. Again, I just think they couldn't have went wrong either way they went. I do believe this way gives them a lot more flexibility, and I think it was the right call to have the Bloodline at this point with all the gold, and then allow everybody to kind of chase the Bloodline. I think with the way you've been building up this Bloodline gimmick, it was definitely built up to where they would win it. But at the same time, if you saw Orton and Riddle win it, you would have been like, okay, all right, I can see, as long as they did something to where, maybe Heyman trips one of the Usos into an RKO or something, like something like that, to where it cost him the match, not Randy Orton or Riddle beating him clean, because that would have kind of ended it either way. It seems like there isn't anybody quite as good as Brock to take over as Roman's next storyline. No, there's not. There's not many Brocks anyways, but I don't think there's a strong enough heel or baby face or even heel. I don't think there's a strong enough character or gimmick in WWE right now that can unseat Roman Reigns. There's not. No matter what you try to do or how you build it up. Drew, Steve said, I guess Drew, but not quite as good as Brock. The thing I'm wondering is if that Clash at the Castle, that special pay-per-view they're going to be doing here soon, again, it's in Drew's homeland, and do they roll the title to him there? I don't know. And now you have RK Bro kind of getting cost Do they come out and kind of, screw Roman over, and now that's how you kind of get the title off of Roman for a little bit, and roll it over to Drew, and then Drew will be the unified champion. But then again, you've just put all the gold on a bloodline. Do you do it that quickly? Again, it's WWE, so my goodness, they could roll the titles Monday night over to RK Bro. That's the way WWE does. So Derek said, only caught the last 20 minutes, and that was fire, I thought. What happened with Xavier? And hello, dude. Hope all's good. All's good, Derek. Yeah. What happened with Xavier? Oh, he got beat down at the end of his match with Butch. And I guess Kofi, they're still doing the injury angle with him. He'll be back next week. And then he said he's going to find a mystery there's not a mystery, but they're going to find a partner. They said nobody can replace Big E, but they're going to try to make good and find somebody to replace him next week. And I guess they're going to set it up for a 6-man tag match there. Flan says there is a lack of charisma, seems dull sometimes. Who are you talking about, Flat Nuts? Not only not unseat Roman, but be worthy of creating the interest that Brock created. That's the thing right now. There's to me, there's nobody there that has that interest built up. Could you make some interest with it happening at Clash at the Castle for Drew? Yes, but that's the only place. If that wasn't happening, I don't see anybody being able to unseat Roman right now, man. He's just, dude, everything even tonight, man. I mean, the fact that he gets involved because, again, the bloodline, he is the bloodline. He's not going to let them fail. So he gets involved, and the heat that you hear from the crowd. And again, I don't know how much was piped in and everything there, but when you were seeing pictures of the crowd, and I don't know how many of you seen this picture that's floating around online. This guy, it was his picture from John Cena, a match with John Cena. He's in the crowd and he's pumping his fist. They reused that at one of the last pay-per-views. And he was at home and he saw it and he stopped it and he rewound it and he had the picture next to the picture. It was the same damn thing. And he wasn't at the last pay-per-view, by the way. So again, it's a work of production that they do as well at WWE. So sometimes some of that noise is piped in, but I think a lot of that was pretty heartfelt there, man. I think they did good. They put Riddle through the table. They beat the crap out of Randy. They left the fan favorites there laying, and they're there holding up all the gold at the end. That's what you want your heels at this point. That's where you want the bloodline. Because to be honest, they are that much better than everybody else right now. The only two I think that are close to them would have been RK Bro for the tag teams. I don't think anybody's on the level right now that Roman is. Flat Notes came back on and said, just these wrestlers as a whole, same look, like they shouldn't be on. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that, cutting a promo isn't 100%, easy. And it's even worse. And to me, it's worse in WWE because you're given a script and said, this is what you have to say. But if it's not in your character, and this is the one thing that I think, like CM Punk has voiced and a lot of people have voiced, it's like, my character wouldn't be saying this stuff that you're expecting me to say. And I think a lot of it comes off as they're just reading the script, man. It's not natural. It doesn't feel natural from them. The ones that feel natural are your Roman Reigns, the ones that aren't getting the scripts, the ones that are, getting more bullet points. That's what they do in AEW. I like it to a point. But also the other problem you get into is sometimes people get long-winded. So when they're scripted, you can keep, everybody on a time. I know it should take you less than 2 minutes to get through this promo. I know this promo is 45 seconds. I know this promo is 1 minute and 15 seconds. So it's also, a thing there. But sometimes I don't know that it's the lack of charisma. I think it's the lack of confidence in what they want those guys to say and be that character that they are. It's a very, very delicate line and a delicate balance because, they want to stay kind of pop culture-ish in what they're talking about. I'm not even sure if that's the right word. I may have just made up something there. But they want to stay relevant with pop culture in some of the things they're saying. But some of their characters that they're putting to say some of this stuff, that's the stuff, New Day, things like that. Those are your pop culture guys. Those guys that can just go out there, be comedic, be serious, but they can do both. You can't have some of these guys that they have cutting these promos. And Raquel Rodriguez now, with what they have her doing, she's speaking in Spanish, then she's going in English, then she'll speak in Spanish again, then back to English. It just, if you don't have confidence in your character and what you're saying, and you don't believe in what you're saying, it comes across as what I believe you're saying, Flat Nuts, as the wrestlers just don't, they look like they shouldn't be on the mic because they don't believe in what they're saying. They're saying it because they're told to say it. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. It's a very delicate line because it may sound good on paper by writers and when you're looking at the show and you're going, okay, they're going to come out and they're going to cut this promo and then it'll go to this match. And then when you see it and it's done and being produced, you're kind of like, maybe we shouldn't have done that. For instance, for me, Ronda Rousey should never speak as a babyface. Just shouldn't. And I know Steve Chapman, she's one of your favorites, so I apologize in advance. But she should not be able to speak as a babyface. I think they should have somebody ask her a question. She maybe says a couple words to answer it and move on. Because she's not going to get any sympathy because in her eyes, she's a legit badass, and she is. She could probably take me down and choke me out in 3.6 seconds. So she has that tough speak, like she has that defense mechanism up, and it doesn't come across good as a babyface. As a heel now, she's a lot better, a lot more confident, because then she can be that Ronda that she can't be when she's a babyface. It's just, it doesn't come across good. It comes across robotic and very, 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 very scripted. And when things are scripted, they start coming across as fake. And I know it's saying, oh, all of wrestling is scripted. Yes. But when some of the things are happening, sometimes the lines get a little bit blurry, and you're like, I know what was supposed to go down, but that didn't look like what was supposed to happen. That's what, the good thing about pro wrestling is when you can have those blurred lines and like, wonder if that was supposed to just do that. Let's see, Boss B, what's up, Sean and everyone? Good to have you on, Boss B, aka Beats. Yeah, she's a heel in real life. Yeah, I think she has that arrogant type talk, and I don't know if it is that way or not. I know she, when she's hanging around with, I've seen her with Shayna Baszler and Marina Shafir and some of those other Jasmine Duke and those, and it's all laughter and things like that. But I know on her Instagram and Facebook, I know when she was pregnant and doing those videos and stuff, she came across that way, so I just think it's a tough exterior that she has on a thing, and she doesn't want it to look, she doesn't want to diminish that by trying to be the little baby face, and try to get sympathy. For her, it's not about the sympathy, because again, look at her background. She came bronze in judo in the Olympics, and then of course, her UFC career. So it's just not she's not your normal babyface character, like your Aaliyah. She can do babyface. I think Sasha is a good babyface, but also at times you almost expect her to turn on somebody because she has that smirk on her face, but Sasha's a better heel than a face, but she can flip it if she needs to. Charlotte, I didn't like her as a baby face. Steve comes on and says, Sean, it seems to me that the best talkers were always the heels. Look how bad Bob Backlund was on the mic. It wasn't until he turned heel and when he went nuts, yeah, and he became great on the mic. But also, something though too is with Bob Backlund, using Bob Backlund as a thing. You have to remember back in those days, Bruno Sammartino, Bob Backlund, they were legit wrestlers. They were, they could turn you into a pretzel in the ring for real. That's why they were champions too. Honestly, I think Bob Backlund probably would have stayed the champion if it wasn't for Vince McMahon saying, you know what, we're gonna end this territory thing, and we're gonna bring in, a 6'5" monster looking guy at 305 pounds, and we're gonna put the Iron Sheik in with Bob Backlund to take the title off of him, and then we're gonna roll that way. I don't know that, and also remember, Bob Backlund was injured when the Iron Sheik beat him, and Arnold Skolin threw in the towel. That was the storyline they went to, and Bob Backlund never got a title shot back until he did win it and then lost it to Diesel, which was many years later. So, but a lot of your shit talkers, yes, are heels, yes. But your baby faces, your Ricky Steamboats, your Ricky Mortons, those guys were good on the mic. And they would get the sympathy, and it would make you feel like, especially when they were doing the Horseman and Ric Flair broke Ricky Morton's nose, and Ricky Morton was like, you messed up my face, and now I'm gonna get you, and I'm gonna mess up your face. When baby faces are doing that and talking that way and getting the crowd fired up, that's good talking. They don't always have to be sympathetic, but you can't always just be, Ronda Rousey, for instance, just to me mumbles when she's a babyface and she's talking. I'm going to beat you, Charlotte Flair. She just doesn't have that conviction of what she wants to get across. Turn her to a heel, and she's telling Charlotte Flair, I'm going to lock your arm in an arm bar, I'm going to rip it off, and I'm going to beat you with it. The confidence is there. She doesn't see herself as a babyface, and that's obvious. But same with Brock Lesnar, he gets over whether he's a baby or a heel, whether, they're going to cheer for him. And that's kind of where Ronda's at until they get tired of her. We'll see if they get tired of her sooner than later. Let's see. Charlotte, one of the best heels in the business, in my opinion. 100%. I agree with you. AKW beats. Bruno was much better on the mic. Yeah, but Bruno was in that territory where everybody loved him. Bruno could have got on the mic and just said A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and everybody had been like, yeah, kick his ass, Bruno. It was that point, and Bruno was that over. Bruno could have recited the ABCs or sing nursery rhymes. Nobody would have cared, and nobody would have messed with him. Let's see. Sean, it's going to be a challenge to put a women's tag tournament together. What do you think ends up happening to Naomi and Sasha? If I'm WWE and I put together this tournament, I would build the tournament up to where you have the final two teams going for a pay-per-view, and they're going to settle it. And again, I don't know. Nothing's really changed on everything. Supposedly they're suspended indefinitely. So this is me. If I'm WWE and I can you know, and then the interesting thing that I did read recently, and actually, you know what? I'm sorry. There is one bit of news in this thing, and I want to make sure I say it properly because I wrote it down here in my little handy dandy notebook right here, my handy dandy notebook. I got to find it because I can't remember the exact dates now. But it stated, sorry, I just got to find the one that actually has the dates because there's a few reports that Fightful put out. And of course, now I can't find it. All right. Now I can't find it. But it went along the lines of Sasha signed a 3-year deal in August or around August of 2019, which would mean her contract is near coming up. The same with Naomi. Are they suspended indefinitely just to sit out their contracts and then they've done their part of the deal and they let go? Or can WWE sit here and, get them back in the good favors and everything else? And what I would do, dream booking by me, I would get, let's see, could probably throw together Natalya and Shayna, that they're already together. She could throw those two together. And they're trying to push Doudrop and Nikki ASH. That's who is supposed to take on Sasha and Naomi. So maybe we'll use those two for my finals right now. When they go to do the finals, they let them wrestle for a little while. And I would have Sasha and Naomi hit the ring and just beat everybody down. Ruin the match. And I would play off this whole thing of them walking out and have them walk back in. That's how I would keep this going. And then you end up running it back the next pay-per-view as a triple threat. And then I end up putting the titles back on Naomi and Sasha in a perfect world. I don't think this is going to be a perfect world. If their contracts are coming up and they're this unhappy, I don't think Sasha needs WWE anymore. I don't. I think she's become a big enough, star. She's doing stuff with TV and everything. I'm not saying she's a Hollywood superstar or anything like that, but she can get, she can get roles. That's not going to be an issue for her. Now Naomi is an interesting one because, again, she's married to the Usos. There's been talk of possibly bringing her into the bloodline. Would she re-up and come back? Sasha move on? I ultimately don't think, I don't know that Sasha goes to AEW, and I don't know that Naomi would go to AEW. I know there's a lot of talk going around right now that, they need to go and turn up in AEW and this and that, but man, what has AEW done with the talent they've gotten? Ruby went there, was pushed for a month, and now she's doing run-ins on Rampage on a taped show. There's not a great history of AEW, and again, it's small history, small sample size, only 3 years, but there hasn't been, especially in the women's division, anybody that's came in and went straight to the top. I mean, I know Sasha would probably get the money and get the push, but I don't know what's there for her in that division. Britt Baker. She's already fought with Ruby Soho. I don't know that Jade Cargill's ready for her yet. Down the line, possibly. That would be a pretty good matchup. Again, down the line. But I just don't know, one, that there's a great matchup there for her. And two, that she wants to go to AEW. I just think that, you know, a lot of these, you know, they get their breaks because they're WWE superstars. And some of them do have some loyalty to WWE. And I know Sasha lately has had, I guess, a lot of disagreements with Vince. And most of them are about the creative side, which my understanding is there's quite a bit of that, but a lot of people don't voice it like Sasha does. You know, I think one of the things with Sasha is that she knows her value, man. And that's one of the things that once you know your value, you're not going to sit there and take less, man. Not, and I don't mean money wise. I don't mean all that stuff. I mean, I know how good I am. I know where my character needs to go. And doing this match isn't helping my character. It's devaluing my Sasha Banks role. You know, that's one of the things that I think gets lost here. And you can sit there and you say, oh, she's spoiled, they're spoiled, this and that. But I mean, ultimately, you know, and I saw it the other day, man, I think I did tweet this to myself this time because I'd seen it earlier. And I want to read you word for word because it was sent from an account that is followed by Naomi, and Naomi follows back. And a lot of people were believing that this was, you know, kind of Naomi and them being able to tell their story. So I'm going to read this is from Dirt Sheet Radio. Some of you guys may have already heard this and some of you may not, but I'm going to go through this. And this is when it says someone close to Naomi and Sasha Banks, and it gives the, on Twitter, followed by Naomi, was apparently given permission to share their side of the story. So this will go a little bit more into, you know, maybe what some of the buildup is on Naomi and Sasha's side. It says, you were approached in February as being put in a tag team after both being promised big feuds at WrestleMania. You bite the bullet. You put everything you got into being a tag team. It works. You get over, win the titles at WrestleMania, and become merch pushers. 5 weeks into your reign, you show up to live TV and ready to work. You're told you'll be in the main event, and you are happy. You both are then told that one of will be going over from pinning the other. You have questions why that decision was made and how it helps you all. You request a meeting with your boss to discuss it. Your boss takes the meeting, and everything is actually going well. He understands your concerns. The meeting ends well, and the match is told to be reconstructed. For some reason, producers get mad about it. You then ask which one of the members going over what happens to your titles. You are told basically that you will just be carrying the belts. They want to use you both to help both women's champions get more over. Bianca versus Naomi, Sasha versus Ronda. Neither one of you will win the solo titles, and you won't defend your tag titles until Money in the Bank. You ask for another meeting with your boss, but this time you're being called spoiled. A producer walks away screaming. He comes back and tells both of you to fix your attitudes. You have a brief meeting amongst yourselves and decide to stand up for yourselves. You go to another boss and make it clear you just have concerns. You ask, why are we even in the match and why aren't other women in it? You ask why your titles have no stories for 2 months. Again, you are met with fix your attitudes. So after one final meeting with yourselves and asking others, you make the ultimate decision as a team. It's sad how one side is trying to create a effed up narrative. Also, it was asked why were Nikki Ash and Doudrop in the match instead of starting the program tonight. Naomi nor Sasha talked up down about being in the ring with either one. I don't know how that got flipped. So there, you know, again, it goes back, and again, how much of that, you know, is their story? How much is that, you know, that I don't know. AKW Beat says they would instantly become the number one wrestlers on AEW. Yeah, but for how long, man? Ruby Soho came in, all this build up, and look now, man, less than a month. I It's that history thing, man. It's that history thing. I just don't see it. And then also after Britt Baker, what? They never let Sasha have a long run with the women's title. Always short runs. Yeah, she's always the placeholder. They see her as a placeholder. Honestly, and then listening to, they know what they have with Sasha, and then they want to build up the other talent by beating her. And another thing is, another part of the story they asked was, Rhea Ripley had just beat Liv Morgan. Why isn't Rhea Ripley in this 6-pack challenge? Why is it Doudrop and Nikki ASH? Why are the tag team champions in the tournament? Why? And a lot of that comes across, and when you look back at it, it's like, what the hell what was it? If ultimately Nikki ASH and Naomi and Sasha were supposed to get into a program from out of this, it makes no sense for Naomi to win, to go to Hell in a Cell to lose. Again, they devalue the titles so damn bad. It's hilarious to me. If you don't want them, then get rid of them. Don't make them carry them around in their bags because they're they're placeholders. If you're not going to make something out of titles, then get rid of them. Nobody's going to miss them. You sure as hell won't. You have your tag team champions, and one of them was going to go over in the match. It just doesn't make sense. When you start putting it all together, it just doesn't make sense. Other than you're going to use two people that were getting over, that maybe you didn't think were going to get over, Naomi and Sasha, by teaming them up. They started getting quite a following, the Boston Glow Connection, or Glow and Boss, whatever they were calling themselves. They're selling some merchandise. So let's let Naomi win. Let's push her up to the main event against Bianca and then have her lose. Why? Why not just let your damn tag team champions keep winning? Let's see. Steve said, it's what you're saying earlier about building your character and believing what you're saying on the mic. I can see where Sasha and Naomi would be asked to become something they weren't feeling. Yeah, no, not only that they're not feeling, but they just don't. Again, we are the women's tag team champions. What are you doing for us? Money in the Bank. I think that pay-per-view, when is Money in the Bank? Let's see, your Money in the Bank pay-per-view is July 2nd at Allegiant Stadium. So that is when you're going to defend your titles after both of you lose, by the way, at Hell in a Cell. Again, if all of the reports are to be believed, I'm going off of the reports. I have nothing 100% solid. I'm going off of the different reports that have been out there. You can kind of piece together how you want to piece it together. But it just does not make sense to me from a booking standpoint to have tag team champion. It's like that would be like booking the Usos, to lose to Ricochet or something, man. It just wouldn't make sense out of nowhere on a match one day. Friday on SmackDown, you show up and all of a sudden it's Randy Orton, it's Riddle, it's the Usos, and you throw two other people in there and say it's a 6-pack challenge. Oh, and Jey Uso, you're going over, and then you're going to go take on Roman and you're going to lose. For what? I just almost feel like they had no damn idea what to do with Bianca, what to do with Ronda, and they're like, all right, who's the next two big draws right now in the women's division? Well, it's our tag team champions. Okay, well, let's break them up, put one against one and one against the other. That is almost how I feel like some meeting went with the creative team with this, the way this was put together. It just doesn't make sense. And then somehow in July at Money in the Bank, it was going to be Nikki ASH and Doudrop against Naomi and Sasha. Are you having one of them interfere to help the champion retain? How are you building up them going from having a shot at the heavyweight title, the women's heavyweight title, to now facing these two in a women's tag team title match? Just doesn't make sense sometimes, man. And that's what these performers have to weigh. Sasha, what is the value of Sasha Banks? There's a reason when she did Mandalorian, she was not Sasha Banks. Come on. She used her real name so that she could get some credit. Because again, remember, WWE owns Sasha Banks. And you see it happening now all over. Every time somebody comes up, what are they doing? Changing their names. Because they want to change. It would be like, it almost, with all this NIL talk, it would be like, you grabbing recruits, bringing them in and changing their name because then you could get the name, image, and likeness money, right? That's what WWE does. And when they're tired of you, we'll get rid of you. See you later. And by the way, you don't even have your name. You're the wrestler formerly known as Braun Strowman. So I'm not mad at all if Sasha believes in, protecting what she feels is her value. Again, going off of what I have seen and what has been reported, I don't know that I wouldn't have done the same thing. And there's a lot of performers that are not in the position Sasha Banks is. And to me, Naomi took a big risk. A big risk, Naomi did. I don't think she has she's there. She's been around WWE for a long time. But I don't know if she's up there with what Sasha Banks has done. Naomi's getting there. But Sasha's in that position to where she can kind of say, I don't think this is right. This isn't what you should be doing with my character. And then ultimately kind of get it, washed away and brought back. If that's ultimately what she wants to do. How old is McMahon? I want to say 73. I believe that's what I saw the other day. Let's see. Vince McMahon, he is 76. 76 years old. And as I said earlier, Stephanie's taking the leave of absence. Nick Khan is taking a bigger role there. And Nick Khan was the one that did with all the firings and even hit the, the corporate area as well. And also, a lot of those people that were let go were from Stephanie's department. So a lot of this there's been rumors that WWE's looking to sell. I don't know. Everything to me seems like they're getting in line. It feels like, you're cutting down, you're trimming that fat off, setting it up to where you're going to sell it. I don't know how that works because, again, they are publicly traded. So ultimately, I don't know how that plays out. There's a board of directors, there's all that. So I guess they got to go through the whole board approving the sale and then, everything else through there. I guess sort of like what was going on with Elon Musk and Twitter there. So it could go a little way, sometime. But there's been that rumor out there. And now you start seeing, everybody says Stephanie's going to come back. She'll be back, this and that. And, she's only taking a little bit away. She's still part of the WWE family. It just, it's one of those things where it seems like a lot of coincidences are happening right now. And they've been always towing that line of making sure they stay profitable no matter what. More stay profitable, bottom line, than anything else. So ultimately, again, Vince is 76. At what point does he say, okay, that's it? I got to believe there's people out there that want this company. What's the money? What's the price where Vince finally says, okay, I'll do it? Is there a price? That I don't know either, because apparently Vince loves what he does. He's there every Monday, every Friday and Monday. So to me, I say let him enjoy his. This is the monster he created, man. Whether you like what you see today or not, we get to see it because of Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan and those guys, in 1984 that came up with this wild and crazy idea of, hey, let's do this and let's see what happens. Let's see. I can't imagine WWE without Vince McMahon. Just touch on it. It may become a whole different product, maybe for the worse, like AEW. I think that there's the thing with WWE to me is there's a template there. There's a blueprint. There's a, it's been around for so long. It's kind of like, they did the recent thing that, Triple H did, which I think pumped in a little blood, was bringing your Adam Coles, your Johnny Garganos. It pumped in a little bit of blood and got things spinning a little bit, But Vince has always been about the big monsters, the big guys. And when you look at, his NIL that WWE has next in line, there's a lot of the two twins that are coming to the University of Miami. They are signed to WWE next in line. They're signed. The the twins, they're signed to NIL deals. They've got a couple of the people that are trying out right now for some of the NFL teams during the offseason, during their OTAs now. They're also on NIL deals. If they get cut and then they go and they end up back in the Performance Center. So they're always looking and turning out this talent. They have about 20 college, players under their next in line. Gable Stevenson just graduated, won in the Olympics and everything else there. He's also, next in line, waiting to see where he's going to pop up and things like that. So I believe that with WWE, there's a blueprint there. The problem with AEW is they just haven't been around long enough, man, to where you can say, okay, this works. Okay, this doesn't. Okay, this, if this happens, we can go back to this. None of that's in place right now. They're almost throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what sticks, man. I don't know if you saw the Rampage today, and I don't know if you saw online, but Bryan Danielson, his leg got stuck between the ring rope and the stage walking to the ring. All that came out. They recorded that right after Dynamite. And it was out that day, and then it's one of those things to where I don't know if they're going to try to shoot it like an angle out of it. And I'm not sure where it was going, but there was nothing released from AEW, which leads me to believe it's an angle. Because if it's get released and then, they didn't even release updates on Bryan Danielson. And then it played today, and then they kind of released they went to YouTube and was like, once it went off the air, here's what happened. But you recorded the show. There's people there live that are social media that have already sent out everything that happened. And when you sit there and you watch it, and then, if anything, it should be like during, Wednesday, it should have been like during the taping of Rampage tonight, this happened to Bryan Danielson, updates to follow. something like that. If you want to, lead it into a story, or hey, this accident happened and that there, but there was nothing. So I got to believe it was part of the storyline, but that's also one of the things with the dangers of recording your shows. I don't need to watch it because I already seen it. It's already been out there. Is there really any technical wrestlers left? Yes. Bryan Danielson. Very technical wrestler. Let's see. Who else? Technical. Kyle O'Reilly. He can go. They don't let him go, but he can go. He's pretty good all around. Good technical style. Bobby Fish as well. I don't follow enough of the Japanese product to say over there, but there's a lot of shooters there as well. WWE's got quite a few as well. Trying to think of, Gable Stevenson's an easy one. Chad Gable is a very good technical wrestler. Most of your guys that have collegiate backgrounds will be your more technical wrestlers. Shelton Benjamin, I know he's a flyer, but he's pretty technical as well. When he's in there, again, are there a lot? No, but there are a few. Kane 1989, what's up, Sean? Everyone on happy Friday. Yes, it is a Friday night. We'll be here for about another 5 minutes or so. And then I appreciate everybody tuning in, man. It's been your Friday night here with me. What is the score on the basketball game? Anybody know? Is it a lot to a little? Let's see. They can't bring out Wheeler Yuta to replace Danielson due to him being in Japan for the best of Super Juniors. Yeah. Nope. Yeah, Wheeler Yuta's another one who's pretty damn good, man. He's pretty good. I don't necessarily say he's a super technical wrestler, but he can handle his own as well. Wheeler Yuta's another one. Sean, do you know of any good wrestling movies? Oof. If you want to know kind of, the Wrestler I thought was good as far as what independent wrestling used to be like. It's not that way today. That'd probably be, there's a lot of good documentaries. I love a lot of the documentaries, the shoot interviews. I love a lot of that stuff. I don't necessarily there's good movies. There's a one, it's called, I think, 365 Days. It follows like some of the names around the independent circuit, and you get to see kind of, and of course, Bret Hart Wrestling with Shadows, if you want to call that a wrestling movie. I don't know if you call that a wrestling movie or a documentary. A lot of the wrestling stuff is the documentaries. Those are good, man. But if you can get any of those, the Wrestling with Shadows, that kind of chronicled the whole thing up to the Montreal Screwjob. It's very, very interesting. You know what, Carlos V, you're 100%. I totally forgot about Jonathan Gresham. So I don't see him enough, man. I don't see him enough. I wish I could see him more. I want to see him more on AEW, man. I was hoping he would sign with AEW. I know he's got the Ring of Honor championship, and I know he's going to stay there, but man, dude, he is good. He is good. That's a good call there, Carlos. Let's see. Flatten says, yeah, I miss the likes of Mr. Perfect, Dean Malenko, Bret Hart. Yeah, yeah. Those guys, you're not getting those guys that much anymore. FTR too. Also, I'm sorry. FTR is pretty good at technical wrestling as well. And they kind of, again, they're the throwback tag team to me. Red Pill Mike says Sasha, Naomi, good riddance. Terry, yeah, I just saw the score 85-83. The wrestler Mickey Work, I liked that one, and only when I was a kid with Henry Winkler. I didn't see that one. May not like it now as an adult, but in the 70s, there weren't many wrestling movies. There's not really a lot of wrestling movies. What was the one? They did one on, was it Disney Channel or was it Peacock or where was it? did one with the kid, and he puts on the mask and he goes to I believe it was NXT at the time, and it's one of those little crazy little series, but it was pretty funny, man. It was pretty funny. Let me see. I'm trying to think of another documentary that is. But again, I look at it differently, man. I like more of the stuff, like I was saying, where it's the documentaries or shoot interviews where you can see, and also kind of reminds me back when I was doing it, and again, nowhere near the traveling they did. But I mean, on a weekend I would, wrestle Thursday here, Friday, and maybe West Palm, Fort Pierce, Saturday going to Tampa, Sunday wrestle in the afternoon in Jacksonville, and then drive home for work on Monday. You would do stuff like that, and then and sometimes you would just have one show. I've driven to Dunedin, Florida, and that's feels like a 7-hour trip over to the Panhandle to wrestle after a baseball show, to tear down the ring, to drive back. So I'd leave at 8 in the on Saturday, and I wouldn't get home until 8 in on Sunday. Took home $100. Yeah, it's good stuff. Good times. Good times. See, Steve said the Spider-Man movie. Yeah. Bonesaw, yes. Sounds like WWE has something going on. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting because, again, I like the bloodline storyline. I want to see what they do with the Sasha and Naomi thing. Can they turn it into, again, this was not a work. They walked out. But can they flip it and make it and turn it into a work, or does it stay that way? And then if it is true, their contracts are expiring in a couple months, do they sit at home and then just you forget about it? Because the one thing about wrestling is, I can tell you now, after that announcement that was made for 45 seconds on SmackDown, they probably won't mention it again unless they have confirmation that Sasha and Naomi are probably coming back. And then you might hear their names more often just for the fact to build up to them returning. Let's see. Boss B says that's dedication. It was one to be a pro wrestler. It was Beyond the Mat. There you go. Jake the Rock. Yep. Rock versus Mankind. Yep. Beyond the Mat. That was a good one. That was a very good one. All those documentaries are all fantastic. And that one actually chronicles that. Yeah, the Rock. Yeah, the 99 Rumble when he hits him with the chair. And then you'll get, Jake. That was a bad time for Jake. Bad time for Jake. Steve Chapman, we've seen the last of them. Possibly, because again, right or wrong, I think Sasha, like I said, understands the value of understands her value, or she has a value on her that she's not going to let them, mess up. I just don't think, everybody's like, oh, they need to leave and join AEW. I don't know if that's the answer either, man. I don't. The history with AEW right now has not been good, especially in the women's division. Has not been good at all. But I want to thank everybody that's been on here this Friday. Steve, Carlos, Boss B, Greater Good, Terry, Red Pill Mike, Flat Nuts, Canes 1989. Let's see who else. AKW Beats. I think I said Steve already. Terry, if I hadn't said you already, Dad, appreciate you as always, Derek. And I think and anybody else that's on there, make sure to reach out to me at Sean_Stanley11. Let's talk some wrestling, talk some South Florida sports. And as always, Monday we'll be back right here. It'll be 11:05 right after Raw. We'll see what else happens, see what other news goes. They will have some ratings coming out this weekend, so I'll get some of that to you. I did see that, just to give you a couple things, Raw went up and Dynamite went up this week. So some good things there. Looks like they're progressing and growing. Not a huge spike for either, but again, the NBA playoffs are on, and that number going up from the week before. That's pretty good for both. Until next Monday, when we meet again right here. In the words of the great Gordon Soley, so long from the Sunshine State.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835